Throughout history, Sudanese slaving traditions have exhibited unique features, evolving and adapting to changing historical conditions. Central to these traditions was the practice of military slavery, which persisted across successive state systems and shaped the social identities of the people for centuries. The independent Sudanese kingdoms of Darfur, Sena, and Tegali were built on the backbone of military slavery, long before the Turco-Egyptian invasion of Sudan in 1820. The Egyptian army itself had relied on a central core of black slave troops for centuries, a practice that would only grow as Sudanese slave soldiers were conscripted into the service of various state systems and independent armed groups. During the 19th century, Sudanese slave soldiers were sent to fight in various parts of the world, from Greece to Syria and even Mexico. These soldiers served a range of different masters. Their services were so valued that some were even sold to the Germans to help suppress the Bushiri rising in Tanganyika in 1888. These soldiers manned Egyptian garrisons in Somalia, Uganda, and Ethiopia, becoming an integral part of the military landscape across East Africa. Sudanese slave soldiers often transitioned from state-controlled military forces to independent mercenaries, carving out their own empires. One of the most famous examples was Rabbi Ibn Fadla, who built a powerful empire in present-day Chad. However, in 1900, Rabi's forces were ultimately defeated by the French, marking the end of one of the most successful independent slave armies in African history. The Sudanese slave trade was closely linked to the ivory trade. Raiders, often former soldiers, would capture slaves and ransom them for ivory or use them for labor to extract more ivory. Guns played a crucial role in this violent economy. Firearms were exchanged for both slaves and ivory, and were essential for acquiring and defending both commodities. These slave armies, supported by the trade in ivory and arms, were often based in fortified settlements known as Zaraib. Here, soldiers and their families lived alongside captured slaves and dependents, forming complex societies that were simultaneously military, economic, and familial units. These slave soldiers were not just fighters, they were traders and slaves themselves, embodying the blurred lines of power and servitude. Religion played a significant role in the Sudanese slaving system. Most of the Sudanese slavers in Equatoria were followers of the Malik school of Islamic jurisprudence, which granted slaves some of the same rights as free men. Slaves could own property, claim freedom if treated cruelly, act as imams, and even arrange their own marriages. However, despite the paternalistic elements of Islamic law, ethnicity remained a powerful factor. Slave soldiers were often fellow Muslims, but they were also black Africans, not Arabs, reinforcing a racialized hierarchy that persisted through centuries of slavery and beyond. The legacy of Sudanese slave soldiers lives on in the West Nile region of Uganda, where their descendants, known as the 111s, bear the distinctive facial marks of their ancestors. These marks, once used to identify captives, have become a symbol of identity, resilience, and survival. The history of the 111s is a testament to the complex and enduring impact of Sudanese slaving traditions, which continue to shape the social and political landscape of East Africa today.